Welcome to the 2022 University of Houston Fall Convocation, and welcome to the class of 2026. My name is Stuart Long, and I'm the Interim Dean of the Honors College at the University of Houston. I know that I speak for everyone here when I say that we're delighted to be back at the Moores Opera House after several years of not being able to gather because of the pandemic. Before our program gets started, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge a few special guests. First, the Chancellor of the University of Houston, President Renu Khator. Next, my fellow engineering professor, Dr. Suresh Khator, who happens to be President Khator's husband, but to me, he's the main person that I talk to about all things concerning athletics here at U of H. We talk about every Cougar team depending on the season. Next, our interim provost, Dr. Bob McPherson, who was until recently the long-serving dean of the College of Education. Bob? Along with the hundreds of excellent students and their families with us here tonight, we're also joined by a number of college and university leaders. If you're a vice president, dean, or administrative leader, would you please stand? In addition to the university leadership, we're also joined by numerous faculty and staff. Your hard work and dedication to the UH community makes it possible to provide our students with a world-class education. If you serve as a faculty or staff at the University of Houston, would you please stand and be recognized? We also have a number of alumni, friends, supporters, and Honors College Advisory Board members here. If you're an alumnus or a friend of the Honors College or serve on our boards, please stand and be recognized. I would like to reiterate my pleasure at being here at Moores Opera House this evening. Since its opening 25 years ago in 1997, I've been to many convocations, performances, and events in this beautiful building. It's one of the jewels of our campus, and I want to thank Dr. Andrew Davis, Dean of the Catherine G. McGovern College of the Arts, and all the wonderful staff at the Moores Opera House for opening their doors to the U of H community once again. Thank you very much for your support. In addition to serving as Interim Dean of the Honors College, I also hold the position of Associate Dean for Undergraduate Research and a Moores Professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. This is the beginning of my 49th year at the University of Houston. I've been affiliated with honors here at U of H for more than 45 of those years. Since the 1970s, I've seen the honors grow tenfold from a program of 250 students in the late 70s to a college with a student body of roughly 2,500 strong this year. I've also seen it grow from a small group of dedicated faculty teaching our flagship course, The Human Situation, to a diverse array of curricular and co-curricular offerings, including 7 interdisciplinary minors, the largest policy debate program in the nation, robust offerings in service learning, numerous opportunities for students to learn and travel domestically and abroad, and an impressive array of undergraduate research programs. In the last several years have been unprecedented in modern education. We know that in getting to the University of Houston for the beginning of your college education, each of you has gone down perhaps a more difficult path than you might have preferred or expected. You have persevered through a global pandemic. You have never lost sight of your desire to go to college. You made it through an online high school classes and social distancing and curbs on your ability to fully express your gifts. You finished high school, and now you are here. This is truly a night of celebration. Welcome to the University of Houston. Tonight we have a very special treat. We're pleased to have 2 very talented and accomplished artists to perform for us tonight. In my years at the university, it's been clear to me on numerous times that our greatest strength here at U of H is our students. Every student has an exceptional backstory, and their intellectual skills, their artistic talents, and their sheer determination for success are a constant marvel for me. Our vocalist tonight is a near-perfect example of such a student. You may have seen and heard Sarah Grace Kimberly on season 15 of the television show The Voice, where she was a semifinalist, or on a national tour with her band, or you may have seen her perform at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, or you may know her from being named one of the only 20 vocal U.S. presidential scholars in the arts by the National Young Arts Foundation. What you may not know is that Sarah Grace has just finished her freshman year in the Honors College and is a finance major in the Bauer College of Business. And this coming year, she'll be an executive leader in the Bonner Leaders Program and analyst for the Bauer Capital Group. And I should also add, she's one of the outstanding first-year honors students that we'll recognize later this evening. Accompanying Sarah Grace is Edward Gavril, who is a graduate student at the University of Houston and is currently studying for his doctorate in musical arts. He holds 2 master's degrees, one in collaborative piano and one in piano performance. Edward is an accomplished and award-winning pianist, composer, and music producer who's performed in many concerts and festivals, both in the U.S. and in Europe. Please welcome these 2 outstanding artists.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? All right, we're gonna do a couple songs for y'all.
I wish you could go around spreading your love across the town. I wish you could come back and make all out of glass, 'cause it's you I can't see without turning me into misery. There's nothing I can say, nothing I can do to get to you. And I don't ask questions you couldn't answer anyway now. I've got one thing on my mind, and I'll just have to pray. Oh, I don't have a reason to stay or to leave. The one thing I need, no, is for you to come back to me. Remember those days when we would dance and stargaze. You turn to me and say that we're perfect in every single way, and it's you I would choose to save. But I forgave the cold, cold day that lives in my veins that took you away. And I don't ask questions you couldn't answer anyway now. I've got one thing on my mind, and I'll just have to pray. One thing I need, no. The one thing I need, no.
you so much. I'm so honored to be here performing tonight for this amazing ceremony. It didn't happen last year, well, I was a freshman. I didn't go. I don't know if I could have. But I'm happy to be here tonight. I think it's so cool to be performing here. I've been coming and playing trumpet on the stage since I was in 6th grade, so it's really cool to be performing here as an honors college student at the University of Houston. So I realized I really missed the school over the summer, so both of these songs are about needing it back. This one's by Michael Jackson. When I had you to myself, I didn't want you around. Those pretty faces always made you stand out in a crowd. Then someone picked you from the bunch. One glance was all it took. Now it's much too late for me to take a second look. Oh, oh, baby, give me one more chance. Won't you please let me back in your heart now? Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. Now that I've seen you in her arms, I want you back. I want you back. No, no. Trying to live without your love is one long sleepless night. Oh, let me show you, boy, that I know wrong from right. And every street you walk on, I leave tear stains on the ground, following the guy I didn't even want around. Oh, oh, baby, give me one more chance to show you that I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh, oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. Now that I've seen you in her arms, I want you back. Yes, I do. I want you back. Oh, baby, give me one more chance. No, won't you please let me back in your heart, darling? I was blind to let you go. Now that I've seen you in her arms, oh, now that I've seen you in her arms. Thank you so much.
For the University of Houston community, the next person on our program needs absolutely no introduction. For newcomers to U of H in the Houston area, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Renu Couture, the Chancellor of the University of Houston System and the President of our University of Houston. As Chancellor, Dr. Couture leads all 4 universities as well as branch campuses in Sugar Land and Katy. President Couture has been a transformative leader for the University of Houston. Since she arrived at the University of Houston has been awarded Tier 1 status by the Carnegie Classification System, has opened the first new medical school in Houston in over 40 years, has been awarded a Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society chapter. The university has tripled the number of National Academy members on the faculty. It has increased diversity and raised graduation rates for students. It has announced a new strategic plan to be one of the top 50 public universities in the United States, and also secured an invitation now to join the Big 12, a Power 5 athletics conference. Most recently, I've also learned of her talents as a most remarkable gardener and an artist, which I didn't know until lately. You can ask her about that. For us, however, she is simply the creative leader of our university and is deeply committed to student success. What we have accomplished in the Honors College and the rest of the university for the past decade has been possible because of her support. We are most delighted to welcome President Renu Khator.
Thank you, Dean Long, and good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Whoa, you all look so beautiful and handsome. You know, I think you come to dress like this to everyday class, right? Well, it is my honor to be here today to welcome you to the University of Houston. I know we have the best and the brightest here in the room in terms of our honors students. And I say it with utmost sincerity. First of all, let me prove it to you that you are best and the brightest, because with your accomplishments and achievements, you had many choices. You could have gone to any university that you wanted to, but you chose to come to the best university. The university is best in so many ways, and I can stand here and tell you, and night will pass. But also it is located in Houston, a vibrant city, fourth largest, global reach, energy capital of the world, Texas Medical Center, port, incredible diversity, wonderful food, arts, sports, culture. This is the place where leaders are made. We are here for you so that you can recognize, you can realize your dreams. Everybody comes with a dream, an academic dream. This is your journey here today. I know you will do enormously well. I know with your energy and enthusiasm, the university will do well because we get energy from you. I know personally I get energy from you. I don't know if you've seen me in any of the classes, but I've been visiting a lot of freshman classes. And the idea is simple. I want you to know that the University of Houston is committed to you, to your success. I have been here now for 15 years. Of course, you're going to be here for 3 or 4, 5 at the most, but I don't want you to stay longer than that, okay? You graduate, and then if you love us so much, go for the graduate program, okay? And then you go out there and just be happy and make a ton of money and come back and invest in the university, right? So, vested reason. But, you know, you have so many choices. And this is a place for opportunity. I come from India, as you can see probably, because, you know, you can tell from my accent. And I came here when I was 18 years old, not because I wanted to come here. I came here because I was given in an arranged marriage by my parents. So I came here, no English. But I was 18 years old, however, I had finished my bachelor's program, so I joined the master's program at Purdue University. Do you think they would give me admission if I couldn't speak English? No, they did not give me admission. They simply said, after a lot of argument, where somebody was translating me, they simply said, okay, I'll let you sit in 2 classes and see what you do. Those 2 classes, I watched every television show. You may not know, your parents will know, I Love Lucy and all of those shows, just to pick up English. But I did get A's in both of those. And after that, as I feel, rest became history. Now, the reason I tell you this is just to convince you, life is not easy and life is not fair. Don't expect it to be easy and fair. However, it is totally in your control, in your hands to make your life a rewarding one. That's what I would tell you. Do not look for an easy life here. Look for a rewarding life here. And the honors program here is absolutely the best opportunity you have. I'm very proud of the entire University of Houston, but I'm doubly proud of the Honors College because I know the teaching method here. I know the culture in the college, and I know the investment, the personal, emotional investments that faculty and staff in Honors College make in you. You will not find this kind of curriculum anywhere. And we have two daughters, they both went to Honors College in different universities, and I know I can compare that too. So you have enormous opportunities ahead of you. This university will offer you many other opportunities too. For instance, of course, athletics. I hope you're interested in athletics. Are you interested in football? Okay, great. Because Honors College students put up the best show in our stadium. But my advice to you, even if you're not into football yet, just because you are in a state of Texas, just pretend that you like football, okay? And just come and join for a game and see if you get hooked onto it. And then we'll have basketball coming. We are ranked 24th in football. We're ranked number 2 in basketball. We have fabulous, fantastic opera program, jazz, concert chorale. I mean, you name it, theater, everything a comprehensive university has to offer, everything you will find here. But most importantly, this is a place where 143 nations are represented. This is a place where there is no majority. We come from every sector of life with every kind of group, and we all mix here. And this is our effort to not get you job ready. We want you to be life ready. There are opportunities for research. We'll open up opportunities for a startup, innovation scholarships. We'll have opportunities for you we have opportunities for a study abroad program. There are all kinds of things here, but it's up to you to take advantage of those. I know you will be successful. I have no doubt about it. I know you will carry on your journey and be someone very special. But let me remind you of one more thing here too, that when you are given so much, you are also given an obligation to give back. And you are in a position to give back. You are driven, you are determined, you're going to be successful. You know what success tastes like. But you will be in classrooms where you will find other students who may not have had the similar kind of experience or an academic track record. It is up to you. I challenge you to be the leaders who you can be. If you can offer a helping hand to another colleague, another fellow student who needs help, and just make sure that that student persists and that student graduates, that student feels that he or she belongs here, I challenge you to do so. You will find your academic journey where your success and success of somebody else, your smiles and the smiles of somebody else together become such a powerful tool, and they'll fuel you, they'll keep you moving forward. Now, I know you had your orientations, and you probably noticed the 2 students who were here, fabulous performance. I mean, how wonderful that performance was. Let's just give one more hand. So moving. You noticed that they were wearing red, right? You notice I'm wearing red, right? There is a reason for it. On this campus, we do not wear other colors. Definitely not on Friday, right? Friday is a red Friday. Whether you are coming to campus tomorrow or not, whether you have classes or not, you will take out, tonight's homework is you will take out your red clothes to wear tomorrow. And tomorrow you will wear your UH or your red clothes. And then wherever you go in city, you go, because this city has to know that here is a university, and that's where you go, and you're proud of it. Now, why is it important? Because no matter what you do, what your journey is, what your passion is, you have to be proud of it. Without pride, people don't get major things accomplished. You have to show your pride. This pride is the basis and foundation of a Cougar network. When you become alumni, you will realize that Right now, when you're looking for opportunities outside in the world, you will realize what that network is. Cougars will help other Cougars find their first opportunities, whether it's starting a business, whether it's finding your venture capital, whether it's finding you a job, whether you're hiring you will realize the power of it. It all starts with pride. I am extremely proud of my university here, and I can be in front of anybody, and I tell you, I will make sure that they know that I'm very proud. And I want you to do the same thing. But make sure that nobody, on any day, nobody wears any burnt orange, maroon, blue, or green here at all. We do not do that at all. And on Friday, you make sure that you wear red. That's just my appeal. It will be also a salute to your teachers. You will find your professors here in Honors College are absolutely the best. And they go an extra mile to make sure that you love learning. Not just you learned, but you love learning. This will be showing respect to them because they are vested in this journey for you. So I'm here for you in case you have any problems that you cannot solve. First, you have to try yourself. But if you cannot solve, you can always send me an email. But because sometimes the problem may not be academic. It may be, outside that I don't like the meals or, something. I just get all kinds of things. But if you have problems and you can't solve it, you please send me an email and give me a chance to deal with it. And then my promise is in 3 days, we'll get your issue resolved. That's what we try to do. Now, it may not get resolved in your favor, but I will get it resolved, okay? So my email, you don't have to remember my name, but it is president@uh.edu. You can send it to me. But please ask me to do things that I can do. I've had some emails before. One time I got an email saying, I got a C, but I really, really, really worked very hard. Can you please change it to an A? Now, you know that I cannot do that, right? I also got an email where somebody said, you promised to fix my problem in 3 days. Can you please ask my girlfriend to come back? I'm not going to do that. But most everything else, I think I can handle it. But please know that I'm here for you, and this is your time to really, really, really learn something and make your life rewarding for all of the time future. Thank you all so much. Go Cougs!
Thank you very much, President Couture. In your program, you can find the impressive bio of Christopher Redden, our keynote speaker for the evening, culminating in his current position as the Chief of Staff for the Rhode Island Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. During his time as a student here, Christopher obtained dual degrees in political science and history and majored in literature and phronesis, an interdisciplinary minor in politics and ethics. He was a Terry Foundation Scholar, received a summer undergraduate research fellowship, and was a dedicated Honors College ambassador. In 2010, he was appointed by then-Governor Rick Perry to serve a 2-year term on the Undergraduate Education Committee of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, where he served as the sole student voice representing all public colleges and universities in the state of Texas, including the University of Houston. After leaving U of H, he received his Master of Education from Rhode Island College and his Master of Arts in Urban Education Policy from Brown University, as well as conducting a Strategic Data Project Fellowship at Harvard Center for Education Policy Research. In some ways, I've gotten to know Christopher better since he left the university than I did when he was here. Even though social media is subject to much criticism today, my connection to him has continued because I'm his friend on Facebook. Christopher writes incredibly thoughtful and articulate posts dealing with both personal and social issues. Every time I read one, viewing it through my own semi-egotistical personal lens, my first thought is, look what a great job we at the Honors College did with regard to his education. And in the case of most of our alumni, I think that might be partially true. But in his case, I think there's a very strong chance that while he was here, he may have taught us as much as we taught him. Tonight, I look forward to him giving even more back to us. I'm delighted to welcome him to address our university community. Please join me in welcoming Christopher Redden.
Wow, I'm not sure how to follow that introduction. I think I'll start with an apology. I forgot to wear my red tonight, President, but I won't make that mistake again. Tomorrow. First and foremost, I just want to thank the President, Dean Long, the faculty and staff, parents and students, community members and stakeholders. It is a tremendous privilege and a true pleasure to be here this evening among so many of you. As has already been discussed, this is a significant convocation for the University of Houston and the Honors College, given what we've all collectively been through over the past few years. I'm sure there are many feelings in this room this evening. Excitement, of course, but also I'm sure nervousness and anxiety. I invite you all to take a breath and to know that the purpose of convocation is literally to call people together. And for us to, in common, which is to say as a community, undertake the act of opening yet another academic year. It is a medieval tradition like so much of the modern university, but rest assured, we can and have for many years made it our own. Being back here on campus is very surreal. I moved to New England within weeks of graduating, not knowing at the time that this was a place where I would spend my college years. This is a campus that I, much like our musical performance this evening, grew up on. And this is an opera house that I actually grew up in. In middle school, I was a member of the Houston Boy Choir, so we performed on this very stage annually and rehearsed in this School of Music's facility twice weekly. And I came of age attending summer camp here each year. There are many points of convergence in my honors story, and I'm sure the same is true for many of you as well. As I said, I'm deeply honored by the invitation, and admittedly, I struggled to find the right message to offer you all today. I wondered aloud to myself, how can I serve? What can I offer that will be of meaning or will add value? Value in a world that is already so information rich, even as it is so knowledge poor. What will resonate? Unlike the professors that I was privileged to learn from, I do not have the wisdom of sages to offer you today. I do not even have the wisdom of an executive in the twilight of his or her career. But what I can offer, and what I will try to do this evening, is to merely share some reflections about what it means and what it has come to mean to me, both personally and professionally, to be a part of what I consider to be a truly exceptional community, and that's both the Honors College and the University of Houston. Like any good honors graduate, I believe there are fundamental principles, keys that hold across generations. And so, shall we begin? Feel free to have an opinion that's different from mine, for most of all, this is your evening. I could spend my time with you all talking about what I do now at the nexus of policy and politics. I could present an argument to you that there's no more exciting work that I think you should join me in occurring in government today than state-level policy work, and that states are laboratories of innovation that are actually getting the work done in the midst of discord and intransigence at the federal level. I could present a claim that the education you will receive here in the Honors College is more important now than ever, with big data and impersonal algorithms driving a push for evidence-based policy, and the need for your humanistic minds to be able to discern facts from fiction has never been more ever present, and to ask better questions along the way. We could talk about the impact of COVID on unfinished learning, or we could talk about admissions yields and graduation cohorts, or the role of assessment in measuring teaching and learning. But instead of any of these arguments or data sets, I want to take my time this evening to share stories. And I want to talk to you about a vision of education and the education that you will experience here that is much more capacious and liberatory than the conversations we often have. I want to talk to you about the years that you're embarking on or you have already begun. And I want to reflect with you and share in common some thoughts about how you might maximize your experience and time here. Because the truth is, rarely again in your life will you have so many knowledgeable, supportive, connected people conspiring for good things to happen on your behalf. And thus, I beg of you, do not let this moment pass you by. You see, I graduated from the University of Houston nearly 10 years ago on a very humid, very rainy Monday in Hoffein's Pavilion, which, as I understand it, no longer even exists. A lot has changed in 10 years. This means I don't come bearing the wisdom of a sage in the twilight of my career, but instead I come bearing the experiences of the past decade and reflecting upon the work I've done so far, and in some cases reflecting on things that I cannot undo. But I want to tell you unequivocally that my time here, my formal education here at the University of Houston and in the Honors College, were indisputably the finest years of education I have ever experienced. And I think that goes to underscore the point that President Couture made in her remarks. And that includes a master's degree, 2 master's degrees, a fully funded fellowship, and graduate coursework at 3 Ivy League institutions. The why of that fact is the point of many of my stories today. And I want you to listen and take what makes sense to you. I graduated from high school 3 years later than I had originally planned due to some health challenges. And the process of figuring out where to attend college was weighty for a variety of reasons, of which I'm sure many of you can relate. 2 major contingencies being my own health and finances. My mother, wise as she is still, from the beginning was singing the praises of the University of Houston, knowing that President Couture had arrived. You want to go somewhere where things are happening, where change is occurring, where there is energy, my mother would say. You want to go somewhere where you are wanted, she said. You will have opportunities in Houston you can never find anywhere else, she said. I think President Couture and my mom have the same talking points. Sidebar to everyone here this evening, it took me way too long to admit this, and maybe this resonates with some of you as well. My mother was right. And the moral of the story here is, mothers, my goodness, they're always right, aren't they? I listened, but I didn't really listen, if you know what I mean. Ironically, I came alone to my first open house here while I was still in high school, and I left enamored. I told my mom when I got home that I was going to apply to the Honors College, and I wanted to come to the University of Houston because they taught a team-taught course called The Human Situation, where argumentation was encouraged, and it was rooted in the great books of the Western canon and essential questions about the human condition. And I was like, Mom, there were 3 people, an English professor, a political theorist, and an art historian, and they were arguing about what Euripides' Medea really was about. And my mother calmly looked at me and asked, who else did you speak to this evening? And I said, matter-of-factly, no one, I just listened. Needless to say, we attended a second open house where my mother forced me to talk to other people, and we met a woman named Miss Jody Kosigi. After talking with us for a while, she encouraged us to consider applying for a scholarship, the Terry Foundation Scholarship. And I'll accelerate through this part of the story and just say, unequivocally, that talking to Jody, who I think that's the first time I've ever used her first name in all the years I've known her, that evening changed my life and my family's life forever. I did apply, and I was blessed to be awarded the scholarship. It made my decision to come to Houston and to Honors very easy. I never could have anticipated the subsequent years that would unfold. I came to the University of Houston as a Terry Scholar, eager but skeptical, nervous but full of anticipation. Because I had spent time on this campus, I thought I knew this place. Maybe that resonates with some of you. I thought I knew Houston too. And here's a lesson. Let me point it out directly. We are privileged to be Houston's university. And yes, we have a beautiful campus, but we must never forget that this city is our campus, and we are called to serve her. I had an advising session early on with the late advisor Andy Little. I sat down in his office and very proudly told him, matter-of-factly, that I was interested in public policy and political behavior. He laughed and turned to me with a wry smile and said, "Well, if that's so, Mr. Redden, I would encourage you to take a walk across the lawn to PGH and meet with Richard Murray. He and the Hobby Center can teach you everything you need to know about that and more. But if you're interested in actually learning about politics and political community, power and justice, punishment and the good life, then you should probably take this course in political theory in the honors coursebook, and you might want to know about this new minor called phronesis." That simple and unassumingly honest conversation changed the entire course of my undergraduate career and introduced me to the faculty member who would become my mentor and chair my thesis. I share that to say, be open to alternatives. My first semester flew by because I, either being ambitious or being insane, enrolled in junior level seminars in history and political science, as well as human sit. And you know what? I loved it. Sidebar, I loved human sit so much that I did it twice by participating in human sit revisited and served as a TA. That's the kind of masochist I am. I think it was the first time in my life that I realized that curiosity could be a vocation, and that seeking and building upon knowledge could actually be a career. I couldn't seem to quench my thirst, but by the end of my first semester, my health took a bit of a turn. I ended up ill with an infection in a midline in my arm, and very quickly, I saw the community that I had joined. Friends got copies of notes. Professors who had previously said we could never record their lectures, recorded lectures. Residence hall directors moved me into a single dorm room. I took my exams that term with a midline in my arm and was proud of my resilience, but more than anything, I realized that I was right where I was supposed to be. And I want to give a very clear example of that kind of community that exists here at the University of Houston and in honors. That was the fall semester. The end of the term necessitates many Christmas gatherings. And there was a Christmas gathering for the Terry Scholarship that was supposed to include a Yankee swap. At the same time, I was supposed to administer an IV treatment that evening. And Miss Kosigi, Jody, navigated my mother turn by turn through the back roads of this campus so that my mom could bring an IV pole and a bag of medication to the Honors Commons, and I could participate in a Yankee swap. I'm sure there are pictures of that on Flickr or a Facebook account somewhere, me randomly holding an IV pole while we exchanged gifts. But yet again, I was very clear this was where I belonged, and I dove in headfirst. After this happened, I was all in, and I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I let a new maxim serve as my guide, and it's frankly a maxim that still serves me today. And that's really just say yes. I'll modify it slightly for all of you with the perspective of a decade of saying yes, and just say it should probably be say yes until you need to say no. But this is to say that saying no is a powerful tool too, but saying yes opens you up to opportunities you could never imagine. And I said yes to it all. Yes to honors advocates, and then yes to honors ambassadors, yes to the Terry Scholar Student Organization, yes to Model Arab League, yes to Student Governing Board, and then officer roles in those organizations. Yes to any and every opportunity I could find on this campus, and as the president mentioned, there are many that piqued my interest. So I want to offer to you, just say yes, be open, stay ready, and let the opportunities be your guide. For me, one of those opportunities was tutoring students at the Nehemiah Center in downtown Houston, where I began to grapple with questions that were focused on public education in a way that I had never thought about before. I also said yes, as I mentioned earlier, to phronesis and a program of study that animated my entire undergraduate experience here. Additionally, I would encourage you all to live actively on campus. And by that, I mean cultivate friends, mentors, and sponsors. Those are different things, just to be clear. A mentor is someone who can help guide you. A sponsor is someone who will actively place you in an opportunity to be taken advantage of. These things come about through community, connection, and relationships. I have two people who come to mind who are on the faculty here who believed in me and often believed in me when I did not believe myself and served that role for me. And I would say they're Dr. Jeffrey Church and Susan Collins. I encourage you all, probably no surprise since we're here for the Honors College this evening, to seek the truth. And by that, I don't mean some anemic version of relativism. I mean the truth with a capital T. And in order to find that, I would assert that you need to read and write regularly. A beloved professor in honors used to always admonish incoming students and remind them that their time here on campus is their opportunity to furnish the library of their mind. He used to always say, you should furnish it commodiously so that in old age, when your mind starts to go and you're having conversations between yourself and the walls, at least they will be interesting conversations that are informed by great books and the most essential questions of mankind. Now, reading and writing every day will not be easy, or regularly will not be easy. You might be told, as I was once told by a professor, that while I might not be able to write a philosophy paper, I could certainly write for Time magazine. I was crushed, but his colleague grabbed me as I ran out of the college and said, hey, at least people will read what you write. So I encourage you to practice those skills and focus on the ability to do them clearly, directly, and persuasively. I'll just say anecdotally, in the past 10 years, writing is the most critical piece of my work on a daily basis. Memos, speeches, the dreaded and never-ending emails. Focus on writing. I want to encourage you to cultivate a commitment to curiosity. But I mean curiosity both as a disposition, but also as a solutions-oriented practice. That same well-loved professor used to borrow a phrase from Isaac Newton and explain that the university, and I'll go ahead and add my own addendum, I would argue life, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And that therefore, if we're able to see farther or go further, it's because of the learnings and the curiosities of those that have come before us. So I want to encourage you, plead with you, stand on the shoulders of some giants over the next few years. Let curiosity be your guide. I want to pass his advice along to you. Rarely again will you ever have the opportunity to study anything and everything under the sun. Now, the parents in the room, I'm sure, are cringing and saying, please stop there. But I won't. Place yourself in a risk zone. Take the course on architectural history, or film as text, or interpretive dance, if that's your thing. It wasn't mine. The university is built, and I would argue perpetuates itself upon the concept of wonder. Find your wonder, pursue it. If you haven't found it, keep looking. The highest degree attained in the modern university, regardless of your discipline, is a doctorate of philosophy. That is to say, all degrees here are constituted in the act of wonder. So explore, unencumbered. You never know what you might find. And as you explore, please remember, just because you said you were going to do something when you came to this university, when you were 16 or 17 or 18, does not mean that you have to do it on the day that you graduated. We're all allowed to change our mind. I would encourage you to seek connection, to not rush, and to pursue one final goal. Please, put your cell phones down. Put your laptops and your computers away. Write with a pencil or a pen on paper. Save those reflections. Talk to a person over coffee. Look in their eyes. Read their body language. Remember what they say. I'm more convinced than ever that we need more connection, not less. And being available is not the same thing as being connected. I hope that you find connection in this community. I promise that it's waiting for you. Do not rush your time here. Life is short. It's also long. Slow it down. Don't rush. Everything will come in time. And as you seek it out, remember something that has served me well. Be kind, be kind, be kind. Surely there are people in this audience rolling their eyes. Thank goodness I cannot see you. Understood, there's a deep irony about a person who works at the intersection of policy and politics telling the youth to be kind. But it's honestly how I try to do business every day. A few weeks ago, I had an urgent question for our chief legal counsel at the Department of Education. After stopping his work to sit with me and respond painstakingly to each of my queries, and anyone in the room who knows how I ask questions knows how painful it can be sometimes, I thanked him for making the time to help me with this item. He looked at me and he said, "You see, that's the problem right there. That right there is your problem, Christopher. You're too kind. You're the chief of staff. You don't need to thank me for responding to your questions. It's my job. It's what you pay me for." And I turned around to him and looked him squarely in the eye and said, "Just because I don't have to be kind doesn't mean that I shouldn't be. In fact, perhaps that's actually the most important time to be kind. Just because I have power doesn't mean I need to wield it unnecessarily. And I appreciate your feedback, but I'm not too kind for the job. Perhaps my predecessors were too cruel. And this is all to say to you, kindness costs nothing, so just do it." Now, I promise the end is near. I know I've probably talked too long already. I was known for being verbose as a student here, with a penchant for adjectival pairings, as I was told. I'm trying to prove that I've grown and matured this evening, but I might be unsuccessful. In any case, when we started this time together, I told you that I graduated nearly 10 years ago. What I did not tell you is that this is only the second time that I have been back to this campus. And certainly it is the first for happy reasons. And there's a very important reason for that. I remember my last day here very well, as I mentioned, graduation. I had driven down from Austin, where I was already working in the Texas legislature, for honors banquet and also for my graduation ceremonies the following days. That night at honors banquet, which you will all experience in due time, was one of the most emotional nights of my life. My mother and sister had already moved 2 hours away from Houston, and the home that I grew up in Humble was no longer. The professor I considered my mentor had taken an exciting new role at another university. I was moving to New England for a job, and I knew intuitively that everything as I knew it and everything that I held dear was coming to an end here. As I tried to say goodbye to so many people, I didn't know how. I couldn't find the words. Everyone hugged and exchanged pleasantries, but I was a bundle of contradictions because I knew that I was leaving a place that had become, in a way, deeply sacred to me. The spell I'd been under was broken. Maybe even I had been responsible for breaking it. And the truth is, I've always been a bit afraid to come back to this place because I've always felt that I somehow left my truest self here. Somewhere in Taub Hall at 2 a.m. eating Bluebell ice cream and debating Descartes, or in Oberholzer cafeteria discussing the lack of public zoning in Houston, or the artistic legacy of Imahog and Dominique de Menil over breakfast for dinner on Sundays, as per was tradition at the time, or in the woods surrounding Camp Allen, or in the Honors Commons or the deep recesses of MD Anderson Library, reading Hobbes and Locke for pleasure outside of class. But I am back today, and I have both remembered and reclaimed that version of myself. And here again, I want to say, I am so deeply grateful to you all, to this community, and so honored to be here with you all this evening. Thank you for having me. I'd like to take a moment as we conclude to do something a little non-traditional, it's a risk, and read a poem in closing. Many, especially my former professors, the political theorists in the audience, might find this odd, but I have found renewed solace in poetry over the last few years. And so, like everything I have shared this evening, please feel free to take in what you can and leave behind anything that's not useful. If you haven't gathered from everything I've shared with you so far, I spent a great deal of my time here on this campus and in this community trying to do two things: to find the best version of myself and become it, and to be perfect, or at least as close to perfection as I could forcibly thrust upon myself. In doing so, remember I said this is a cautionary tale, I wasted a ton of time and energy and probably missed some opportunities along the way. What I want you all to leave here knowing is that only one of those things is actually part of your task here, and it's certainly not achieving perfection. This is a poem called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over prairies and deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Welcome once again to this incredibly special community. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Thank you for having me here. I am wishing you all the most spectacular and successful year. Be well, and by the way, go Cougs.
Thank you, Krista, for your inspiring words. I'm glad you could come back to U of H and speak to us tonight. Our Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs and Academic Programs, Jonathan Williamson, has a small token of our appreciation. We've reached the recognition portion of our ceremony this evening. At this point, I'd like to recognize a number of talented U of H students. As I call out each group, please stand and remain standing until I finish and ask you to be seated. As I'll be listing several groups, I'd ask the audience to hold your applause until we reach the end of each section. First, each year we identify our very best first-year students. We recognized them individually last spring at the Undergraduate Scholars and Major Awards Dinner, but I would ask the outstanding first-year students to stand at this time. No, you didn't listen to me. No applause till the end, please. We have a lot to do. Please remain standing. Also, I'd like to recognize all of our scholarship recipients. This includes the Tier 1, the Terry Foundation, National Merit, Academic Excellence, and all other scholarship winners. Please stand and join the other students standing. Please remain standing. Next, all students who participated in undergraduate research in programs such as PERS, SURF, HERE, the Mellon Scholars, Houston Scholars, REACH, the Ferris Fellows, and the ARC program, and all of the undergraduate research activities. Many of you are already standing, I assume. Let's give them all a hand. Thank you. You may be seated. Next, I'd like to recognize students who have found success in nationally competitive scholarships. So please rise if you are a recipient, finalist, alternate, or honorable mention for the Rangel Fellowship, the Pickering Fellowship, the BMC SMART program, the PCM MD Anderson program, the Critical Language Scholarship, Fulbright Award, Summer Scholarship, Boren Scholarship, NSF Graduate Scholarship, Phi Kappa Phi Scholarship, Phi Beta Kappa Key Scholar, the Amgen Scholars, the Truman Scholarship, participant in the JET program, or the DAD RISE program. Along with those great students, we'd like to recognize members and inductees of our U of H Honors Societies. Please stand if you're a member of Phi Beta Kappa, Phi Kappa Phi, or Omicron Delta Kappa. Thank you. Thank you, and now you can please be seated. Next, I would like the Framework Fellows to please stand. They're hopefully sitting together. The theme of this year's journal was immunity. The winner of the Framework's Prize for Excellence in Undergraduate Humanities Research is Guadalupe Lambara for her essay, Immigrants Are Essential, Paula Mendoza's Aesthetics of the Undocumented. An honorable mention goes to Sarah Golick for her essay, Dreadful Knowledge, Oedipus Tyrannus, The Plague of Athens and COVID-19. We're also proud of all of our Framework Fellows this year. Framework journals are available free of charge at the door when you leave. Please take one home and read the great work that these student scholars have produced. Lastly, would you please stand if you're one of the students in the Bonner Leaders Program, or if you participated in the Speech and Debate Program, which is now one of the largest policy debate programs in the country. Let's recognize the great work these students have been doing. Thank you, and please be seated. Moving now to the people who teach and serve these great students. I'd like to ask the following award-winning faculty to stand and remain standing. First, the Ted Estes Award winner for academic leadership, Brenda Roden. The Vince and Louise Foster Award for Teaching Excellence, Laura Bland. The Matthew and Tamara Steele Award for Teaching Excellence, Aaron Reynolds. The Wong Faculty Engagement Award winners, Michelle Belko, Allison Leland, Carrie Myrick, Rita Saray, and Quinn Valier. And finally, the Dean's Award winner for Excellence in Leadership and Service, Dustin Gish. Another integral aspect of our teaching mission is being a faculty mentor for our students. If you have mentored any of our students in any fashion, including undergraduate research, co-curricular work, or any other activities beyond the classroom, please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions. Thank you for your commitment to teaching, your service, and dedication to our great students. This ends the Fall 2022 Convocation. Thank you for coming. Students, you have Casino Night hosted in the Honors College this evening, so please make your way there. On your way out the door, please stop and grab a soda, dessert, and a beginning of the year gift for everyone that's here. For those faculty, staff, and alumni and friends who wish to do so, please feel free to join us in the green room here at the Moores for a short reception. Best wishes to all for another great year at the University of Houston, and go Cougs!